Hello, my friends. Dr. Rick Mabanta. Wanted to explore balancing your hormones naturally. One of the things that you see, especially in younger women, or women in their time period where they're having young children into the time period where their children are getting older, and then the transition into perhaps um, latter parts of life when you start to go into retirement age and things like that. During those periods, I often see the causes for hormonal imbalance occur. Now, if you think about it, a woman who is first having children, she'll go through a period of time where she's going through the gestational period. The hormonal changes that are occurring in her body are extraordinary. In that 9-month time period, the kind of hormonal shifts are incredible. And then when she gives birth to the child, the demand that occurs during that time period, and then the process of now recovering from that big hormonal shift occurs after the childbirthing process. During that recovery period, what often happens is those mothers jump right back into life very quickly. Sometimes they're working moms, sometimes they're running family, they may have other children at the time as well. And the stress demands are high at that level for those young mothers. So their hormones are trying to balance themselves, and they shift into a more sympathetic nervous system dominance or a stress mode, having to get the kids to school or having to take care of that young infant. Creates a demand on the hormonal system again, shifting more towards hormones like adrenaline and cortisol and epinephrine being secreted, which can increase inflammation, affect estrogen levels, affect progesterone levels. And those periods of time are sometimes upsetting. And those moms will continue like that, and maybe they'll do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times with other children. And then those children get older, they're raising their children, the physical demands on them are great. Again, stress mode can create some imbalance in their hormonal levels. Also, nutrition that they're exposed to and chemicals that they're exposed to. Chemicals that might mimic some of the hormones in the body, like plastics, for example, or in the foods that they're eating and the animals that are being raised with hormones. Again, more hormonal stress or hormonal imbalance that's being induced. So those are variables that can affect the hormonal systems of the body. The way to kind of change that or shift that naturally would be to try to shift the body more into a parasympathetic mode, where the body is directed more towards healing, regeneration, immune function, hormonal activity that's based around nurturing and loving and caring and sharing. Non-stress mode, if you will. Shifting back in that direction can help to balance the hormones naturally. Eating a more natural diet where you're not being bombarded by plastics and abnormal or abnormal hormones that you might be exposed to through factory farming and abnormal hormonal indoctrination or infusion. Chiropractic care, getting your spine and nervous system adjusted, proper exercise, rest, emotional and mental attitude. Paying attention to that, making sure you induce those areas so that your hormonal system can be balanced and you can make the transition into the different phases of hormonal activity. So by the time you reach latter parts of life, menopausal changes, for example, those changes could be much smoother, more natural, less symptomatic, and you can experience and express the natural tides and movements of hormones in a non-stressed manner or in a more parasympathetic manner. So a little touch on how you can affect your hormones and balance your hormones naturally. Any questions with that, or if you have any insights in that area, feel free to give me a call and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.